Hi, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Rick Falkvinge, the founder of the first pirate party, the Swedish one. I led it for 5 years, and these days I'm traveling the world speaking about the ideas and ideals of the pirate movement.
Sort of in a nutshell, how would you characterize those ideals of the Pirate Party?
We're the next generation civil liberties movement. What we're saying is that the rights that our ancestors fought, bled, and sometimes even died for, there are a reason for them being there, and just because we're communicating electronically doesn't mean they should go out the window. Quite to the contrary, there's a reason we have the postal secret. There's a reason we have whistleblower protection. And just because it doesn't fit in with some business interests to have them online doesn't mean we should accept them being dismantled at the rate they are.
Now, the Pirate Party, is that purely a European thing or is it worldwide?
We're worldwide. We exist in 6 out of 7 continents. There isn't one on Antarctica. But there, of course, pirate parties are in various stages of nascency. It's a young political movement. We're in the European Parliament. There are many pirates on local councils across Europe, in Spain, Germany, Czech Republic, and a couple of other places. But you can see that we're particularly strong in Europe and Latin America. The US, Canada, and UK do have pirate parties in some states and parts, but given the political system where you need an absolute majority in a particular geographical area to get a seat, it is much, much harder for a contender party or a challenger party to win a seat.
Are there particular values that the Pirate Party has that you think the main political parties in the U.S. could do well to adopt immediately?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? When there is a new value appearing in society, one of 3 things will happen. The first and best, most frictionless, is if the existing politicians realize that, hey, we missed this. We need to learn about this and make a sensible policy out of it. If that doesn't happen, new politicians within these parties will take the old politicians' job, but the parties will still maintain power as an organization. If that doesn't happen either, entirely new parties will start to chip away at the old party's power and replace the politicians either way. The problem is politicians are drinking information from a fire hose. Their mailbox is just crammed with people demanding attention for everything from a hamster tax to come to grips with carbon emissions to condemning that bridge that shouldn't have been built in the 70s anyway. And getting their attention in this torrent of noise, if you want, is very hard to do. So the only thing that remained to get their attention was to make it personal. We needed to threaten their jobs over not understanding the issue. We needed to bypass the politicians and meet them level to level on election day at the polls. And that did work to get their attention. Now, they don't fully understand the issue yet in Europe and elsewhere, but enough politicians have lost their job over not understanding the issue that many are starting to realize that they at least have a blind spot that they need to look closer at.
What is a librarian's role in advancing the issues that you find so important in your party?
Librarians in general, and in the US in particular, are very deeply respected outside of the US for safeguarding and standing up for the right to share information and seek information, to seek knowledge. And this is not very common outside I was about to say this is not very common outside the U.S. borders, but it struck me, I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that the U.S. librarians are known for having this very close to heart and standing up for not just for their own rights, but for everybody's right to seek and share knowledge. And I very much respect and admire that. And that's what we are fighting for politically.
You mentioned the role of privacy during your talk. Why is privacy such an important part of this seeking and sharing knowledge?
Because if we don't have privacy, then government and other bodies can harass people who seek knowledge that they think should be kept under wraps and should not be shared. If, say for instance, that you had, say in a terrorist scare that chemistry would be a banned subject. I'm sort of going just theoretical here, but say that chemistry would be a banned subject, and that anybody reading a chemistry book would be under scrutiny by the government. Now, if some federal agents would come up to a house, knock on the door, and explain politely that, ma'am, we think your son has been reading forbidden material in the library, and we're very concerned about his potential plans and your son's future. Now, that might sound far-fetched, but it's a very, very effective way of dissuading people from seeking certain knowledge. If we have privacy, that means you can't pinpoint which individuals would be, well, inconvenient, if you like, for a particular government. And that's why it's important for everybody to help each other maintaining anonymity. We need anonymity. We need it online and we need it offline in order to safeguard all of our other civil liberties, because it prevents harassment, it prevents stigmatization when we're doing things that might be inconvenient.
And then lastly, you had a Battlestar Galactica reference
Yes.
in your speech. Can you say what that was and why it's so central to the values that you guys espouse?
The quote was, the exact quote was, all of this has happened before, and all of this will happen again. What's going on right now is not so much a technical advance as it is a power struggle that's been consistent throughout history. There are two patterns that have been going on for as far back as I can trace recorded history. The first is people in power use that power to keep their power. The second is a group that has the information advantage in society will translate that advantage into a power advantage and gradually rise on society's ladder. These two combined mean that people in power will seek to restrict knowledge and seek to restrict the sharing of knowledge of everybody outside their group and outside and in their influence to maintain their own place on the ladder. And we see this today. I'm sure that everybody who's watching this can think of something that the government, their teachers, their boss does not want them to share with others. And that's not necessarily wrong, it's just an observation. What is wrong, however, is when we're not allowed to hold our elected leaders accountable. And that's when we need to stand up for our rights. What is wrong is when we're not allowed to seek knowledge. And that's when we need to stand up for our rights. And what is wrong is when we're not allowed to share knowledge. I'm not talking about trade secrets now, I'm talking about knowledge in its purest form. And that's being challenged. And I'm concerned by that.
All right, Rick. Well, thanks very much for coming all the way to the U.S. for this, and we will look to follow you as you continue on your journey.
Thank you for inviting me, and it's been an honor to attend the American Library Association.